What's up, y'all? It's your boy Kairos, and I am bringing you the definitive Blood Deathknight guide in 11.05. I'm going to start this off right away. Only enchant you need to run is Sanguination. Big ass heal if you go below 35% health, and modifies your Deathstrike damage based on the target's missing health. Actually gets pretty wild. Stay with me now. We're going to be running full mastery. You don't need haste. Full mastery, I would even say get some crit. You can lose the versatility. I would keep around 20-25%. It's not the most important thing, but I'd say crit verse, full on mastery gear all the way. Mastery and versatility. Just more damage, more healing, more everything. Everything else that you don't need haste on, and there's a simple reason why. You get all your haste from your trees, from your bone armor and sand lane. Alright, so you get 10% from your bone shield, so there's 10% flat right there. Well, what do you know? That stacks up 7 times, increasing your haste by 17% for 25 seconds. You can maintain that buff all the time, because you have a 35% chance per Deathstrike to get a Vampiric Strike. So how does that also work with your everything else? Pop your Dancing Rune weapon, now you have it. You have it for the next 8 seconds. So, and you're doing more damage. So that's something to think about. So, yeah, Gifted Stand Lead increases the effectiveness of your Essence of the Blood Queen by 200%, and a Vampiric Strike replaces your Hard Strike for the duration. Really good. So, to get into that, you are also getting versatility from your tree. You're also getting haste from all your trees. Deathbringer, the problem with Deathbringer is it doesn't modify anything exceptional for blood, I feel like, because Sand Lane, they've buffed Sand Lane so much, and they've just straight up buffed your overall damage. I think they unnerfed blood, or they buffed it. I'm not really sure. I haven't really been paying attention to Deathknight, because they've basically killed Unholy, and with Unholy being weak and Frost already being one of the weakest melees in the game besides setup. And the problem with Frost is you only have so many setups, as where blood is just doing unhealable amounts of damage, doing all the healing and peeling for the entire team. Is kind of cancerous, because you know your death grip's on a 15-second cooldown, and you're also reducing the damage done to you with doing grasp by 6% for 6 seconds. Get haste, you get a lot of other things. Okay, so Sanguination all the way, mastery, and maybe some crit. Say, well, crit's nerfed by 50%. It doesn't matter. I've had some insane crits, like 2 million death strikes. 2 million non-crit death strikes. Imagine if that crit. I mean, what would that be in PvP? Let's say 3? That's literally half of someone's health bar. Right? 40% something. Full leech, full everything, because you're already going to be getting all this leech from your talent trees. You're already going to get all your haste. You're already going to get all your verse. A big percentage of your verse comes from your gear, but you get a small percentage based off of a proc, I believe, from your everything else. So let's go into this. I kind of get lost in the street because I haven't looked at it in a while. I'm like, oh well, that does a lot of damage. Oh wow. So you're always gonna want to try to keep this buff up as well. And I'll kind of explain how the rotation works. So all your damage is Deathstrike, all your damage is Deathstrike, and Dancing Rune Weapon. If Dancing Rune Weapon's on cooldown, you are making sure you have Marrowbone, and you are spamming Deathstrike in between Heart Rends and kind of balancing the two. So you open up, you get all your shit out on them. You're going to pop your Dancing Rune Weapons. Get your Triple Disease, you're going to use Consumption. And then this is literally your whole rotation, which is right here. Okay, it's pretty much over. Gotta wait. And when you do get hit as blood, you do also get it. You also get the reduction in your Dancing Rune Weapon, so that's really good as well. But basically, you want to use Deathstrike as much as possible, and the reason is not like back to back. You can use it to like nuke someone if you can, but you basically want to keep up your disease and everything else. So I'm going to show you my haste amount. I have 31% haste with this, and I yeah, and I get haste from standing in Death and Decay as well. So that's absolutely retarded. So yeah, blood is a little freakish. So yeah, I'm gonna pop my vampiric blood. That'll try to help me get my fucking pet thing. Sometimes it's kind of more like an offshoot chance to get it, but still get it. Consumption. Of course, that guy's got to break everything. But basically, you want to just keep this buff up. Essence of the Blood Queen, which just increases your Deathstrike damage by 42%. And, yep, Cycle of the Hatred. No, hold on, wrong buff. But basically, this is your entire rotation. You can use, yep, there we go, 20%. Boom. Even though we're hitting 2 targets, 4 million. Good God. I know it's always going to be way higher, but the blood is life and all that stuff. That's kind of actually what it is in PvP, funnily enough. Heart strike damage, kind of same thing. Vampiric strike, kind of the same thing. Death strike damage is where it kind of gets massive. Of course, those target dummies also have 0 health, so we are getting the maximum amount of damage from Death Strike. I'll show you some games here, like Hook Point. I won this one. This is actually a demo lock, believe it or not. And there's a non-crit for 2.1 million. It's even higher if we count in Dancing Rune Weapon. The averages are always going to look really low, and the reason is because it's also like going off your auto attack and other stuff like that. There's other stuff that go into that. So you got to kind of look at what your average kind of is overall and just kind of go from there, which can actually get kind of nuts really quickly. But Blood of Sorrow, same thing, hitting for about 1 million. Blood Boil's hitting hard. Your Blood Plague is also hitting really hard. The same game. Here's the demo lock. Here's the demo lock. Deathstrike did a lot of my healing. Vampiric Strike actually does a decent amount of healing, believe it or not, 2.8%. Your Leech does a lot, and that's in 2s as well, so it's actually kind of funny. Blood is life. Just overall, and Sanguination and everything else that goes into that. That was a really, kind of a really long game because we didn't do an Invoker healer. I'm playing with a disc. And it's just kind of funny to see like how much healing Blood's doing, how much damage with Deathstrike. I did not get any like huge crits. Average of 700k, 727k ish. So it's like this is basically an arms warrior that doesn't die, but he also doesn't have Mortal Strike, which is actually kind of funny. So, but Infliction of Sorrow and Blood is Life. That's all from your Sand Lane, Vampiric Strike, obviously. And it's also just modifying your Death Strike damage to where it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's also modified off your Rune Weapon as well. When you press Death Strike, both these weapons do hit the target that you're hitting. Here's your Blood Beast, just auto attack damage, which is not very much, but it's something, right? It's doing a fair amount of your damage. When it's hitting for, you know, a little bit, yeah, it's not crazy, but overall, as the game goes on, that is proc-based, but it can also heal you for quite a bit, right? So... Mastery verse, I don't know, it's kind of like in a weird spot, but I would definitely say for your most needed stat, I would say go full Mastery and verse on all your gear. Get as much verse as you can, get your 4 set. You could probably even, oh, and actually talking about the 4 set, and this is actually something that you guys want to pay attention to, well, you have 1 or more 2 bone shield charges, the damage you take is reduced by 2%, and of course it's cut in half in PvP. But your damage is increased by, what is it, 0.2 per bone shield. Yeah, and you have a chance to generate some if you're below 6. So, and that's the main reason I like it. Yeah, it's not crazy, but I feel like it just helps for you to spam other things because Morrowind does cost 2 runes, as where Heartstrike costs 1. And if you have the chance to randomly increase the damage you deal with Deathstrike by 20% and their 50% health, and you randomly hit them for 1.5 million, now people are popping cooldowns and people are panicking, like, what the fuck? Why did 30% of my health randomly go away? Now you can kind of see where the spec gets a little bit retarded, right? So I'm enjoying it. I think I queued with a disc. I haven't really played too much Deathknight because I've been busy with IRL stuff and just everything else. Where there's been games where I think we did like 11-0 from like 1600 to over 1800. It's pretty funny to see that every game. Fury Warriors, Demo Locks, Hunters, Feral Druids. I don't think we lost a single game, which is actually kind of hilarious. And the Priest is fully safe to go full damage and just Discipline is definitely going to be your top healer to heal with. Maybe even a Resto Shaman in some regards. But this and Blood is just hilarious because you can just keep the disc safe pretty much forever. And you're a goddamn tank. And Blood has a lot of healing and a lot of healing just from your leech and your overall damage. And if they do go your healer, so what? You're able to maintain your blood shield more, and that's just more damage. So there's no way that you lose. You either make your healer do more damage, or they make you do more damage. So either way, you're going to be doing a ton of damage. But I just want to do a quick recap. Sanguination all the way, Mastery Haste. If you do have the chance, get some crits, just to get some hilarious Deathstrike crits, you know, with your Dancing Rune weapons in your main. Two-hander that you're using, your character has equipped. Because it just copies whatever you're doing, which is pretty funny. But basically, any burst rotation basically sits on the premises of pop your Dancing Rune weapons and consumption basically together. It just does that much more damage, and it just buffs your disease damage. It's kind of the same thing with Unholy. You know, pop your Dark Gargoyle, get your disease everywhere, get your disease on everything. It works the same way with Unholy, basically. Dancing Rune weapons, blood boil, consumption, either, you know, stun the healer or silence, whatever, and then start going from there and just doing big dam, right? You're just sending big dam. That's your whole goal. Slow, be annoying as possible. Kick, grip. Grip is basically a 15-second cooldown. Just spam it, right? You know, obviously don't over spam and run out of it. Try to keep as much uptime on the target as you can. Be as disruptive as you can. And you can do shit like this and make a Warlock run the entire game while healing yourself as much as the healer and doing as much damage as a Warlock, which is actually kind of funny. But glad I could bring you guys this guide and kind of show you. Blood Deathknight is better than Frost and Unholy put together. And y'all have a good one. See you later.